So Stacy has been an intern with the Anvaya Feats and 3S team since 2021, on and off, working with us. And now uh, Stacy is working with us. Her area of focus is business and nonprofit operations. She and her daughter Alana have been really big in helping with the Anvaya Kids emoji match game, as well as the Anvaya Kids book series. In addition, Stacy has been one of our lead accessibility testers for our website, our web application, RFP Quick for small business owners, and for the Shadow Rush game. So more about the experience, here's Stacy.
Okay, so we have Stacie with us now, and Stacie has been with us since the start, since we first started even considering Anvaya Feats as a passion project. And Stacie, I don't feel the need to introduce you, so I'll let you introduce yourself, share a little bit more about who you are, and we'll take it from there.
Awesome. So my name is Stacie Leap. I'm from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I have a 6-year-old daughter. Her name is Alana. And I have been blind for a little over 6 years. I went blind back in 2016 as a result of domestic violence. I was also 2 months pregnant at the time. So by the grace of God, we were able to survive everything. But in my adjustment to blindness, I found that there was just things that I thought were accessible as a sighted person were not accessible now that I'm the one using it. Especially with this pandemic, helping my daughter with her schoolwork and her homework was very difficult. A lot of the apps that she was using was not accessible. A lot of the different homework assignments were all picture based. And with me not having sight, I wasn't able to see what was happening or even help her with it. And that's kind of how I wanted to talk about how I met you. We were on a platform called Clubhouse, and I remember seeing this room on Clubhouse said accessible e-learning games, and I thought it was more of a lecture series. I was like, oh, I need to go in and learn to see how this is accessible, to make it accessible for my daughter and talk to her about the school. And that's where I met you, and we just talked about how things are stated as accessible and are not really accessible at all. And that's how I got
Right.
involved with you in the virtual internship program. And it's just been growing me so much as a parent, as a person who is blind, and just as a person as a whole.
Right. And I will say that just as much as you're growing, our project, our program, and our understanding has grown because we have connected more with the community at large, as well as the community for the blind and the visually impaired. We started working more with you and therefore the National Federation of the Blind, your chapter. And tell us a little bit about the blind parents group that you helped to charter within the NFB.
So I am the chair of the Blind Parents Group here in Pennsylvania. We started since March of 2021, and I didn't think I was going to start it at all. I wanted to join one. So I asked the state affiliate president, Lynn, if there is such a thing. She said, you're on a national level, but there's none in Pennsylvania. And I asked her, how can we get this started? I would love to, connect with other blind parents. And she said, well, you can start it. And I remember telling her, no, I'm not no expert. I know nothing about parenting. That's why I'm asking you to find other people to connect with. And what really resonated with me was her telling me, you don't have to be an expert in parenting. You want to meet other blind parents. You want to meet other parents who have kids. So why don't you start that up? Build your own support network from that. And that's what we've been doing. It's been going over a little over a year, and we've done so much collaborations with different agencies and organizations. We do support groups. We provide resources. We're just a lending ear to each other. We only meet in person once a year at our state convention, and the other 11 months we do it on Zoom virtually, and it's open to honestly the entire country. We started in Pennsylvania, but we have parents from New Jersey and Delaware, even from Canada and California, down in Texas. They all come down or come up, whatever direction you want to say, to the Zoom platform. And it's just really amazing. just being connected. That's one thing. A lot of people don't like the pandemic, but one thing that I do like about the pandemic, I guess, is the ability to connect virtually with a bunch of people I would never get a chance to meet at all.
Right. And you and I met for the first time at the
Right?
state convention this year. You're actually the first person since I started 3S with Jeff in 2017. All of this time, we haven't actually met anyone that has worked for us or with us because we have been 100% remote from day one. And so it was great meeting you and Alana and Gabrielle and Brielle and others that I've, heard their names over the last year or so. But, you talking about the pandemic, one of the reasons we started the virtual internship program was because so many people were being displaced from work, and many from my alma mater weren't getting the opportunities, either because they were disadvantaged and or they had a disability. And when you came into the picture, you from day one were talking to Sam and to Chris, and helped with the initial introductions for Melissa. My question, there are so many things that you could be advocating for, but I'm not going to make the assumption or be presumptuous about the causes that you care about, but you've touched on so many in working with us, whether it be advocacy as a parent or as someone from the disabled community or as a blind parent, but then we also have the other social causes that are near and dear to our hearts. So what causes, would you want to share about that are near and dear to your heart?
A lot of the social causes that are in my heart were from personal experience. I'm a big advocate for ending homelessness. I was a homeless person back when I was in my early 20s. I advocate a lot for people who are survivors of domestic violence. As I stated earlier, I went blind because of that. So a lot of my advocacy work go into telling my story and getting people to understand that they're not alone as well. And like you said, with me being blind, and as a parent, I advocate so much as a parent with between my daughter's school or just advocating in the streets, because there are people who still to this day believe people with disabilities or people who are blind should not be parents. And sometimes I know a few people who has their kids taken or had to go to court to prove that they're fit parents, all because that they were blind, not because that they were abusive or neglectful, but just because that they were blind or disabled. And that's something that I think should never happen to a parent.
I agree with you 100%. You've done a beautiful job with Alana. She's bright, she's beautiful, she's healthy. She's curious, as I learned over the last year or so. And she's also interested in the work we're doing. Alana has been an official member of our team, but helping with some of the quality assurance, quality controls we're trying to implement, with really being accessible and inclusive. We've talked about how many companies develop solutions without really involving members of the community with the solutions they're building. And we took it a step further and said, how about being inclusive by involving children with the Anvaya Kids series? And Alana has been quite honest about what she thinks about certain things. And but it was great watching her play emoji match over the last the state convention. I think she played about 7 times. But
she loves games and matching games, But one thing, like you said, she's very curious. Every time that you and I have a meeting, or we just have a meeting with the team members, she's always interested in finding out what we're doing. And whenever she gets the little stickers, I have stickers all over my laptop from the different Anvaya kids.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I'm all for it. And with that quality control, because of my lack of eyesight and us wanting to reach out to kids, her being my eyes and saying, that's a little too small, or that doesn't look right, or I don't understand what that means. We coming from a 5-year-old or a 6-year-old really means a lot, since we're going to be targeting the kids. Sometimes words might be too big or too small, or just
right.
Like the terminology is a little different for them.
Right. And Alana being part of the process has also helped me to realize we're doing the right things for the right reasons. But, so you've had this experience of, working with us, learning with us, suffering some of the setbacks, we've experienced since May of last year. What, you know, how would you sum up your experience working with both 3S and Anvaya Feats? How would you summarize your experience with us?
I don't know how to summarize it. I just have to tell you a story.
Okay.
But it's just, I guess in one word, it's just been truly amazing, because like I told you when we first met, at the time I was still learning JAWS. I was still learning how to use a screen reader on my phone, different voiceover techniques and stuff like that. But whenever I applied for jobs, they would never consider me qualified because I wasn't an expert enough. I knew it just enough how to read email or how to write Word documents, but to do other things, I couldn't get those things in place. And the services I have here in Pennsylvania, they were lacking. We were having changes in staff members within our Bureau for the Blind, or lack of communication. So I just never got the services I needed. So being able to be a virtual intern, and a lot of the members on the team were very patient as both of us were learning about what I could or could not do and how I can learn from those things, and just having the platform to learn through LinkedIn Learning, just through trial and error, just even asking you guys a bunch of questions. I remember always asking you guys and you was like, no, ask away. And I was like, you sure? Because I feel like I'm being redundant, but it really does help that the team is very open-minded and really ready to always give you information and feel like I feel like they're not trying to just say, oh, well, I'm the guru of this or I'm the expert of that. You don't need to know anything. They're willing to share the information so all of us can grow together as a team. And I love that about the virtual internship.
Right. And that's one of my requirements. We can't have anyone working with us that wants to hoard the information and keep it all for themselves. You have to be willing to stretch and grow, but you also have to be willing to share. And that's part of the growing process. But you've been, you've had your hands in so many pies, so to speak, when it comes to the different projects that we've worked on. Why don't you tell us a little bit about, which projects you've been most involved with or had the most interest in working on since you've been with us?
Oh, so many. So the first one, my favorite, is the RFP Quick app, because I get to provide that input and accessibility and be a part of that background development, not just saying like, oh, it's not working, and then sending an email to who knows who. And if they respond, they respond. If they don't, they don't, So being able to talk to the developers right then and there to say, hey, this button isn't labeled, or this link doesn't go to the right page. It says it's supposed to go home, but it goes somewhere else. Just being able to talk to them and feeling that my voice is heard. It really made me feel like I was integral in that whole process. Sometimes for me, I notice I take a step back in a lot of roles because I feel like I'm not, I guess, worth it because I don't know enough information. But being a part of this internship, I felt like, there's no need to step back. Everyone needs to step up and learn from each other. And being able to have that voice really makes me feel like I was really a part of the team and not just in a team.
In addition to you realizing the value that you are able to add and the contributions you're able to make to the work we're doing, what would you say is, the lesson learned that has helped you the most thus far?
My lesson learned. Which one do I pick? So patience is one of my lessons learned, not just within myself, but within the other team members and just as a whole. I know for me personally, whenever I hit a roadblock, whether it's through technology or just anything in life, my first instinct is, I can't do this. I quit. I'm just going to go back to just being how I was and, just get everyone to do everything for me. So having this virtual internship pushed me and allowing myself to be more patient with myself. Even you told me, Rome wasn't built in a day, and I actually have to keep remembering that a lot. So that's a lesson learned for me as an individual. As an employee, just all the different, like you said, I'm not a coder, I'm not an app developer. I am nowhere near claiming those titles, but I'm able to learn all those things and wanting to pursue more of that as a career goal. Being able to wanting to learn the screen readers, how to use JAWS at NVDA, and helping people on the team, which is people outside of this company, to learn how to use their screen readers to make their life less miserable. Because I noticed for me, when I start to learn the screen reader and how to use voiceover and stuff, I just felt like I can just do so much more than just YouTube, or just do so much more than answering a phone or a text message. Just being able to teach others how to do these things has just been helping me be better. I don't know if I'm answering your question, but that's all.
No, you are, because we talk about enabling and empowering, and instead of doing it for others, teaching them to fish. That's one of our cores. Like, I'm not going to show you how to do it. I will help you identify the resources so that you can learn to do it for yourself. And the fact that now,
and you
I don't
make
want
me step outside my box too. Let me tell you this one project you made me step outside my box. The audiobook project. You told me, I would love for you to listen to it and give me your feedback. And I was like, okay, I'm thinking I'm just going to listen to it, be like, oh, it's good, it's bad. You're like, no, do a rubric. And I'm like, oh, what? A rubric? A scale? What do you mean? I don't know nothing about critiquing. And you definitely helped me get outside of my box and made me actually listen to their tone and their speech patterns, and if they're like umming and ahhing and the background noise. Like, I never noticed that before, so definitely helped me step outside of my box. And really, now I can't listen to an audiobook without saying like, there's background noise. Like, oh, that person is not saying that word correctly. So
but they're all building blocks, right? And
yes,
you will pass that lesson on to others. And I know that you've already done that with some of our other interns. But, aside from that, how do you plan to, pay it forward, or how do you plan to continue making a positive impact?
I know there are a lot of people within the NFB who do not know how to use like iPhones and JAWS. So I've been paying it back in terms of that. Whenever I call them and ask how they're doing, and they're saying, oh, I don't know how to do this with JAWS, I don't know how to do this with my iPhone, I actually help them step by step to kind of work through it. Because I know what it's like to be frustrated and wanting to give up because nothing's working in the way that you want it to work. All my advocacy skills, just being able to talk to people more, not just about myself, but about the projects that we're doing. Even my daughter is an advocate for you guys. And when she was at convention, she was telling people to go get the free jelly beans and go look at the games at the other table. So, so just being able to pay for it and just talk about all the great things that we're doing, and how we can all be together to help bring that awareness out.
We have a cohort that's going to be starting soon, and I can say from the initial conversations that there's just lots of positive energy, but lots of nervous energy. And so if you had an audience of the upcoming cohorts in front of you, what would be your takeaway, or what would be your words of encouragement for them?
You're going to always feel that way. But you're always going to feel nervous and excited. The thing you got to do is just push through that nervousness and definitely understand that LaToya is here to help. She's very patient. She's very patient with me, even before I'm patient with myself. So she sees things in us that we don't really see in ourselves at the moment. So just give yourself that grace and allow her and other team members to just pour into you.
I'm not going to cry. I'm just going to say that's it. Thank you, Stacie.
Oh, thank you. I love you.
Thanks for watching. You can connect with us on LinkedIn or visit us online at www.anvayafeats.org, where you can learn more about our different projects and make a donation. Thanks again.